Hello and welcome to another draft for the channel here. Hope you're having a better day than I am. Just burnt my breakfast a little bit. Not sure I'll use this recording. Kind of pinched for time here, so I'm having to eat while record. Hopefully you don't hear it, but continuing to collect our packs. We're up to 83. Gems. We haven't burned through very many gems, like over 1,000. It's not too bad. As you go to get the full set, and I would say like MTG is sort of free to play. Like you will burn through gems drafting for a while if you're like me and you just want to do it all day every day until you got the set collected. If you're a lot slower at it, maybe you can't play every day or you just don't want to draft every day, then you can get into a situation where you're doing enough of your drafts with gold that just feed back into the gems, and that can help. Let's see here. The best card here might be Bitter Triumph. Just unconditional removal spell for 2 mana. Noting that I haven't loved the black decks. I've had some success with them. Not a lot. Vibrant Outburst is really good. And Poisoners is really good in the Witherbloom deck. Cuboid Colony really good in the more curve out aggressive style Quandrix decks, which I think are the only way that you can be a pure blue-green deck, because if you go with the more slower controlling role, you end up having to splash for the better interaction spells. Here, just picking up a Foolish Fate to go with our Bitter Triumph is an option, but I don't feel like it's the best option. We've got a lot of solid red cards here. I don't really want to be picking a common ever in this format, it seems, until you've settled into a deck, and that's usually pack 2 or 3. That then you can start picking commons over uncommons. So I'm going to take the best card in the deck for the best deck in the set, I guess. Okay, maybe I'm wording that wrong. But not for the best deck, but the best card for a deck is Garrison Excavator. So we're going to take it, and no, we've taken going 2 very different routes here. But we don't need to play either of these cards necessarily. Going along with that same philosophy, again, passing another Tome Blast really sucks, and we may be sending a signal to somebody who's more willing to force red decks, that they just go, oh, there's cheap interaction, and I'll just keep taking that, which I think has gotten me off the rails a little bit. I love the cheap red interaction, but sometimes you get into oh, you're in a red-blue deck without enough win cons, or you're in a Lorehold deck without the synergies. So the best card for any deck, for any of the decks here, is Scolding Administrator. Repartee gets a 1/1 counter, then when it dies, it can move those 1/1 counters, and it does go well with our Bitter Triumph as a little note to make. Here we're going yet again in just a different direction. Living History is pretty replaceable. I mean, there's a lot of 2-drops for the Lorehold deck that is better than this. But Essence Knit Scholar is quite powerful for the Golgari deck. It's just that all these other cards are just so middling and replaceable. If you're in Lorehold, you're wanting better twos than this generally. Ascendant Dust Speaker is kind of replaceable for that deck also. So we're just going to take, again, the best card for a deck. Ooh, and Stirring Onomancer was just a nice slam pick here, as we might be getting into a Silver Quill deck. Noting that Ink Mage is okay for it. Maybe the best card like after this is Tester, but I don't know if I'm willing to like ever really speculate on just taking Tester. But Stirring Onomancer is just fantastic. 5 mana, 4/5. You know, typically you look at the top 3, 4, 5 cards and get the best pick of the litter. There, just in keeping with theme, like, again, there's not a black or white card that just stands out right here. And Molten Note is very solid. If we in pack 1 with just 3 cards for our deck, it's actually not that bad, as long as we're in the open lane. That's the most important thing in this draft, is reading the draft, staying open until something just like smacks you in the face that this is what you need to be playing. And then we finally get our first blue card, Stress Dream. Pull from the Grave is okay. Eternal Student reads like an amazing card, but the data says it's not that high. Really, it's just that it doesn't perform in any synergies for the black decks. Maybe if you're like Mardu and you're more of a Lorehold deck and you're just splashing black because you didn't quite get there, you know, this can be a good card. Here, man, the packs have dried up here. We get another blue card in Tall Drifter. Okay, now we get Mascot Wheeling. It's a nice sign that maybe we're supposed to be in Lorehold. The rest of these cards are fairly replaceable. Witherbloom Charm's okay. But you don't need Witherbloom Charms when you're playing a Witherbloom deck. It's not a necessity by any means. Here, like, Sloth's just the better card. But we're kind of souping out here, so maybe the land. We may be something where we're red-white and we want to splash black and play a Stirring Onomancer or something. So I'm just going to take this. And here, same sort of principle. Just take lands when you can. Surprised Masterful Flourish is still in the pack. People love this card. See it get played against me all the time. And then there's a Tester of the Tangential that comes back around. So we got a huge variety going on here. Noting that none of our Tome Blast came back, which isn't surprising, I guess, but something we would have really liked to have seen. I'm thinking that maybe the red-white gets cut this way since we passed those. Group Project is just a solid card, even if you're not, like if you're a Silver Quill, it can be okay. I mean, 2 bodies for 1 card is always a decent rate. The other thought here is to take Charging Strife Knight, which I really like, but sometimes this card wheels. I think people are a little too down on this. And I think it's just because none of the Prismari players care about that as a card. Here he gets suspended aggression passed to us for pick 2 here. So the person to our left may not be in Lorehold, as this is a fine, like, sort of tempo-y draw spell too. Like, it definitely plays out a lot better than it reads. And there are like a number of like decent tokens. If you kill somebody's like 6/6 fractal with this and just draw a card, you feel really good. Oh, practice offense. Okay, yeah. White red is open from this direction. So practice offense. If you can at all splash this, and it's very easy to do so, as it's only 1 white pip. You don't need to play it and flash it back in the same turn. You don't need to spend the 5 mana. You can just play it one turn, play it the next turn, and win the game if you have any sort of board at all. Here, joined researchers. I actually won a game where I was behind and just played Secret Rendezvous twice. My opponent was actually discarding the hand size, but I just had to find an interaction spell for his like 3 mana bomb, or I was going to lose the game. So it was like my only out, and I had to cast it twice, but I got there. But a 2 mana 2/2 first strike is a very relevant line of text in itself. Here, now noticing the red white really drying up. Honorbound Page is fairly replaceable. And if we look at just what we have here, what we can play so far, I still don't think this is a spot where I feel like I just want to slam and force. But there's really nothing else to take. It'd probably be Essence Scatter. I'm not excited about. Borrowed Knowledge is not a card. Zealous Lorecaster can sometimes make the cut. But you need some really good stuff. And the fact we're not seeing any of the red burn spells, though, coming this way, I think what happened is the players to our left went cool, Unsubtle Mockery, and Tome Blast were willing, and it maybe put them into blue-red. I'm going to take the land. And that way, just make our mana better so that we can maybe splash some of these black cards if we need to. This card has not been that great. Heated Argument dealing 6 damage, plus letting you exile a card from your graveyard. It's like sneaky good in that it can trigger your leave the graveyard synergies for your Lorehold deck. And sometimes that's more than enough. I think it's like this and Tome Blast are the only 2 like interaction spells that do that for you. I'm going to take Dust Speaker over Terramorphic Expanse. Render Speechless is really good too, so maybe there's some argument to taking that. We will take really kind of lacking creatures. Tackle Artist is just a serviceable 4-drop. And surely we'll get like another interjection, and there it is. But now I might take Zealous Lorecaster. Triggers the leaves the graveyard stuff. Maybe there's something there to be had. Mage Tower Referee can be a 2-drop for us. In these last couple of packs, there wasn't anything that could even possibly wield for us, so that's pretty upsetting. Withering Curse is something where just not interested in, even if it was something we could play. Um, Stand up for yourself, quality interaction spell, noting that we're really light on interaction. We've got heated arguments, suspended aggression, molten note. But really I want to take the Rebel Rouser. This card has just been so good. But no, I'm gonna take the. That was just so hard to pass a removal spell there, because it's looking like I'm going to have like a fairly synergistic deck anyway. Just a couple Garrison Excavators in some ways of removing stuff is fine. I might actually be on take last gasp. Strife Scholar usually wills. It may be a spot where we have to splash the black for Bitter Triumph and Last Gasp and Onomancer. Stone Docent's really good for a 2-drop here. 2-drop cares about stuff leaving the graveyard. Now this is, again, a hard choice between some interaction and a top-end threat. I haven't actually played with Colossus of the Blood Age. I'm going to take this. We really only need like 2 more pieces of interaction. This pack just didn't have any cards in it. Ooh, Scorn Mage is so good. We're gonna take response. Angel's Grace. Huh. I mean, I'm gonna take it. There's just nothing else to take. We're at playables. We just have to splash. Ooh, that's nice. Another response is really good. So we may have actually got there in our removal suite that we don't have to splash Bitter Triumph for Last Gasp. Maybe. Ugh. I don't know. It really feels like maybe there was another Lorehold drafter at the table. Oh, happy this willed. This is actually a somewhat decent card for this deck. So we are on needing a splash. Of the options that I would want to splash, this is Bitter Triumph and Last Gasp. Because we got enough creatures. We don't want to play too much stuff on the lower end of the curve. Like, creature-wise, we want to be able to get on the board. It's okay if you can't fire a removal spell off on turn 2. Because you usually get better targets, you know, the later in the game you're willing to let it go anyway. Mage's Tower Referee might just have to stick in the deck as something that's easy to cast. We got 8 white sources, 8 red sources, 4 black sources? Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that. I would think that maybe it's cut Zealous Lorecaster. For 6 mana, getting back any of these spells that I have, they're just removal spells. Yeah. Okay, not excited about this deck at all. Seems like the only times I get the Garrison Excavators for my Lorehold deck, it's just missing a lot of the other stuff. And then when I get good piles of synergies and everything and removal, I just don't get the Excavators. All of our colors online turn 2. That's nice. I'm gonna have to give this guy a land, I think. I don't want to. It's just I've got so many lands in my hand still. I'm still probably discarding a land Robo-Rouser still also. Painful. Stern Onomancer, really nice to get us kind of going back into this game after the discarding lot. It sucks playing this, but if he just tapped this, maybe he doesn't have an interaction spell. He's got 2 cards left in hand. What are my other options? Play Owlin. I can't even play anything else. I could Rendezvous, but then I can't. Yeah, then I can't play anything else still. Because it's double white. Alright. This guy on soup with mind roots is kind of wild. Wow. Take a point of damage? And then I guess I concede. I have to draw a removal spell this turn, and he has to not have a counter spell. I guess I get one more turn. That doesn't help. This guy, I can't even double block. Yeah. Drawing a land there was so painful. I mean, my big worry was in playing Excavator that he would just have a removal spell for it. But having a sweeper that leaves him with a 6/6 trample is not something that I can come back from. I needed a top deck like in a Johnny's Response so that I could like play a creature and remove his guy. But the Mind Roots, I giving him the extra land and letting him like get ahead a turn. It's rough, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe I should have just discarded 2 spells. Ramping your opponents is not something you can be doing anymore. I actually think that's why Erode may end up not being as good a card. As people may have thought it would be. Because I was just thinking through all the standard decks right now. And it's like, oh, what can you actually, when can you actually cast this Erode? And it just looked like never. Like, it's just so bad against so many decks. I want to get Mascot out. Get it growing. I think what I'm gonna do here is just this. This adds 5 power to the board. Well, 6 power and the mascot trigger. This guy has word discard a card. Doing that because it's technically 2 more damage because it pumps the mascot. I still have 2 more cards to exile with Rebel Rouser for the mana. This card is sick though. It's just taking turn 3 off to just draw some cards in this format can be pretty bad if you don't just have a bunch of like removal spells. Whoa. X can be 0. What am I doing? I still feel like draft navigation is the hardest part of this format. Still, it can be really hard to read signals. Trying to find the path into, you know, the open deck is kind of rough. There's such a big gap between like the good commons that you're kind of happy to take fairly early and the rest. The rest are just bad. I was like, why is he attacking into my token? It's generally not something just be wanting to do. Let's get a scry out. I'm actually really tempted to bend this. Because I kind of want to find... It's either find a black source to turn this removal spell on, which is harder to do, or I keep this for an interaction spell because I don't have one. Otherwise... It's just my next turn is like pretty bad. And that's really bad. Holy, I just lost this game. Because this doesn't actually, like, discarding a card to tempo is not what I want to be doing. Holy. I should have bent it. This is a great card when you're on board and you're like at parity or ahead of your opponent. But man, is it bad right here. Go ahead, play your removal spell. Oh. Not removal spell, but pump spell or something. Okay, he's got pull from the grave. So he's gonna get a 1-drop that he can replay. He's gonna play Pest. This is just so bad. I'm so screwed. Guess I have to keep that. If I can somehow get to 6. And then I draw the answer for it? Are you kidding me? And but I can't play it anyway, so. Oh well. This is just a stomp. My interaction does not line up. I did not have the black source for the bitter triumph. So I'm just gonna lose this game. No point in carrying it out. I'm maybe like 1% to win. And that 1% is him disconnecting. So I'm not gonna stick around there. Save a little mental equity. But these 2 games that I've lost have felt kind of out of my control. As like it just didn't matter what I was doing. I mean, maybe that's not fair to say about that last matchup. A black mana keeps me in that game pretty nicely. I'm gonna play this group project first. Just gets it in the graveyard. Okay, and if he has a Essence Scatter here, much prefer he get the Joined Researchers instead of my Spirit Mascot. Though I'm not excited about either option. Docent. If these stick, which is group project, go super wide here. Okay. We get in a nice attack this turn. Just need to draw something that isn't a land. Okay, okay. That's what we needed. We need a discard fodder for our Rubble Route object. What we're getting at. We don't need to hold control. Our Field of Strife will actually hold priority. This is really good though. We just need to find like a piece of interaction here probably. Deep Surveil. Ugh. I won't have any mana to cast anything anyway. I've got no, like, 1-drops that I'm caring about. We just send. Okay. And then we've got a 3/4 menace creature. Opponent plays some big spell that increments this, which will get him a 3/3 blocker. And gains him 2 life. Ooh, Stirring Onomancer for the potential piece of interaction here. Maybe seems better than going Garrison Excavator this turn. Let's keep... yeah. A Molten Note. Not playable here. Unless I'm willing to, like, 2-for-1 myself. It says Ward 2. But next turn I could play it 4/3 with Excavator. So we're just gonna have to hope that he doesn't play anything too big here. I didn't feel like running in my 3 creatures. We can kill that with the Excavator. The thing is that he still makes the 3/3. Oh, I'm sorry, the Molten Note. So here, we do get the heated argument. We get to remove a card for 2 extra damage. We just need him. We just need him to brick once. 1 brick, and this game is over. That might be a brick. Okay. Molten Note for 5. Showing us he doesn't have anything. We swing. He's in, like, he can block here, he takes 5. So he is in double jump range there. So that's it. We could get the scry value now to set up, make sure we got a better draw, but Excavator into make a 2/2 is pretty good. Yeah, these cards aren't good enough to, like, be in a deck. This Rancorous Archaic and Transcendence Archaic are just, like, pretty mediocre cards. There are great converge payoffs. The converge decks are really scary, but only when they're playing the good converge cards. Playing the bad converge cards over pretty much anything else you could be doing is it just doesn't seem correct. Okay, it's good. Get to play a first striker for a blocker here. We got a decent curve, just 2, 3, 4 with 4 mana. It's just these are the worst cards of the deck. I will snap make this trade, I think. I'm not too interested in getting to Awaken. Or maybe I shouldn't. And taking 2 damage isn't too bad here. Yeah. An excavator with no way to trigger it. But it's the only way that I... this guy's first strike too. It's just a solid blockers here. Okay. Okay. Got lots of things caring about leaving the graveyard. I think we're going to actually just play this because it'll grow off the spirit mascot. And just keep the keep going wide here. Remember, we do have the formation spell, the thing with flashback that gives your creatures 1/1 counter, and you can give one double strike or something. So we always want to be adding to the board. Suspend aggression grows the guy. Grows Mage Tower Referee. Gives us a card. We haven't played anything that he actually needs to kill because his cards line up pretty well into what we're doing. But I think this is all that I've got. Just to play this. And let it get removed. Oh, okay, okay. 4 cards, 6 mana pass. He kept that card on top though. Oh, maybe his removal spells are sorcery speed. That could be fair. So here at some point, I might just have to rip this freaking secret rendezvous off. He could have a sweeper also. So I'm not going to extend this other garrison excavator. The only time that I'd be willing to fire this off is if wow. I can suspend aggression it to like save it. That was one of my reasonings in just keeping this card open, is that if he targets the excavator or something like that, two Arnins. +2/+2 and menace. Oh, but he just pumps the frog here. Awesome. Actually getting to cast my Awaken Mages. If I attack here, he can just block with this and go to 2. Oh, he didn't gain life. Alright, opponent was definitely playing some below rate cards, but then again, so am I. It's part of limited, you end up with decks that have to have just a bunch of jank in it. Ideally, it's a few cards, 3 or 4, and sometimes in your drafts it ends up being like 8 or 9, and those are the ones that are really bad. This is really bad. I want to pitch the land. And it was the right choice, luckily. With two drops, and you know, both our main colors, it felt alright. Just in case this is a removal spell that he's keeping up, like a last gasp. I'll leave with the token. And also, I like having the group project get in the graveyard for, like, you know, I can play the joined researchers next turn and flash it back. But, like, if there was a situation where I couldn't, like, I never really wanted to play this card after that fact. Yeah. We just make dudes. Making 3 2-power creatures on turn 4 is pretty good. Okay. Grow the vigilance creature makes sense. Though I would have grown the flyer. Because this is already kind of a target. We just come in here for 2. Trading this guy off when I have another goal card seems kind of crappy. Like, I already have a great block lined up for this, so trading it for that isn't very good. I think we just hold. Because it'll be a 4-3 next turn. The Onomancer. I don't want to remove my only mana source. Like, the plains. I don't really want to be exiling my Molten Oak. It's got the flashback value. We get to get in with the first striker now. So I do think he had the last pass since the start. And it was pretty good of him to get some extra value out of it. Osteomancer. It's got Eek Mage. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Getting planked down. We can just start with some of these excess lands we got there. Just some points of damage. Can I be aggressive here? I could also just fire this secret rendezvous off. But it feels like we're pretty even and like giving him removal spell options, but I've got 2 removal spells of my own. That's what I wanted to see, is we just get practiced offense. So we can give 1/1 counters to everything, and like we just give like this lifelink or something this turn. Or we try to get greedy with it and we drop just Tackle Artist. Because Tackle Artist will have Trample. But here we're going to be like defensive. I'm not going to try to like get in any points of damage. Because I did just give him a full grip. I just knew I had cards that can close this game out. That I was trying to find. Though black and white can have those too. I mean, he could have a practice offense in his hand right now also. And I could be screwed. Okay, if I let my opponent draw 3 cards and on 6 mana he goes 2 mediocre 3-drops, I think we got this. Okay. Target a player. Target a creature. He gets double strike. Oh, I should have played this first, I guess. Because it misses a counter now. Sure. And we will give him lifelink this time. So this is a lethal attacker on its own. He's got to put a lot of guys in front of this. And I'm going to gain 16 life. So he didn't have to put a lot of guys in front of it. I thought maybe his best out might have been keeping as many creatures on his board as possible, and hoping to just get some removal and stuff. Okay. Yeah. Letting my opponent draw 3 cards and he just draws crap cards seems fine. Poor guy. when your opponent spends 3 mana on his turn to give you 3 cards and you lose that game, that feels awful. I do think it's interesting to note I have cast Sacred Rendezvous in 2 different games. In both games, I win. So maybe there's something to it. Okay, he's got interaction. I'm just going to want to keep up the pressure here. And it's free real estate to put in the graveyard. What I'm hoping is that he's just relying on this as like a blocker. Okay. That's less than ideal. I'm gonna take this. Hoping that maybe you might have another play that's a little bit more worth killing. He's got something, okay. That's why we lead with this card over Excavator. Caster gets back a removal spell for this guy. That's disgusting. So just to make sure this doesn't get counterspelled. Because he's going to spend 3 of his mana killing this. He definitely can leave up enough for like a counter. Just gonna play this, no discard. So we get to play a card that sizes up over his Trampler. And replaces itself with a draw. Okay. It's pretty good. We get to response this guy. Oh no, does he have the 1 mana protection spell? Get to play Death Speaker? get to... There's no reason to remove something from my yard right now. So we're just going to remove a good spell for him to get back. Sky Coach is, like, it's good for these Converge decks, but I don't know. Like, I'm on the fence about this card. Sometimes it seems really good, and sometimes it's like 3 mana for draw basic, and it's a permanent that's like completely irrelevant for the game. I'm not even sure like it's that good in the Converge decks. It keeps going down in my estimation for the like where you're trying to just go over the top of your opponent. Sand is super slow. Can't even cast this card. 4 lands too, so if I draw another land, like I'm toast. But at least like I can play these, but it's just gonna be so slow. It's just like, is my average hand any better than this really? Like I do have a number of 2-drops and interaction spells that I can actually cast. Yeah, that looks a hell of a lot better. All 3 mana sources and a 2-drop. And our the best card in our deck. Though it's not necessarily something you want in your opening hand, as it doesn't do anything. Yeah. Oh good, he didn't have a follow-up. Robo-Rouser pitching practice offense can be fine. I mean, the card has flashback. The only thing is I get super punished if he plays any other ways to exile a card and he exiles it, but I don't want to be missing my my land drops. Because now that I hit land, I've got Honor Mancer for the following turn. This is quite nice. Pursue the past in the bin. Okay. And we will take... Tackle Artist. It just goes so well with the practiced offense. This is sort of a free-ish attack for him. But there's no reason for me to risk a creature when getting a 1/1 counter on it is going to be better than taking 3 damage. Like, risking this guy if he has anything here and kills it, it's pretty bad. Best draw in the deck is an untapped land. Lets me play both these cards. Again, I know this seems maybe a little weird. Not sending in the 4/5 that turn. I just want, yeah, 2 wide open. It's clear he had some kind of combat trick. I just don't want to risk my creatures. My creatures are so much better once they actually have stuff. Oh, well here, we don't want him drawing a card, so now we have to block. And him just giving us -3/-3 is kind of whatever. We're alright with this. We could Greed Lord. And wait a minute. Yeah. Give this guy a double strike. I mean, that was a completely face-up play. Like, I didn't even have to make the 2/2/2s. He was just dead, and he still attacked with this creature. Okay. Like, if he just gives that double, like, if he saves his combat trick, the last gas, the -3/-3, for my double striker, it saves him 6 damage. Like, he's not even dead. Like, if he does that. But that 3/2 guy with the Ward 2 that with a 6-mana spell make 2/2/2s. I had that guy so far down my list of playable cards. Like, I pretty much had it in the unplayable category. And the more I play with it, the better it feels. Like, I'm going to keep this. His hand plays fairly well without a red source. Again, just play the card first that I don't care if he kills the token as much, and I'm okay with the idea of me having a flashback card in the graveyard. Okay. Turn 2 Essence Scatter is getting rough out here. Just counter spells are good in the format that they are. This card will prepare. Does he care about that? He's got a burn spell or something here. A run behind. Guys, all interaction all day. Mockery. Is he out of action yet? He is not out of counters. Oh my god. Just gets back Mockery. I guess I have to keep it and just play it. Let him Mockery it. I have to force the plays. Oh, he let me trigger the exile. He should have killed it before that. Any good blue deck has plenty of these return effects in it. Okay. And of course my piece of interaction here is completely irrelevant in this game. I could just fire it off to save 3 damage, but I can also do that next turn. I'm just gonna rip. Maybe I should upkeep Scry, and I could save. I could have 2 mana for like in a Johnny's response. Rubble Rouser. Maybe would have been a better draw. I'm just gonna save some damage here. And the practice offense doesn't do anything. Okay. Lost to 4 counter spells and a burn spell that got returned. My creatures are not that resilient in this deck, for sure. You're going to lose to that. There we had a decent deck, though. The problem with the deck was forcing in the Black Splash, where I didn't get enough playables to be in a 2-color deck. Though our fixing was really good with 2 forums, it did screw us enough of the time that it definitely didn't feel all that worth it. Stirring Onomancer felt worth the splash. You know, if it was just the 2 forums for 2 planes and you didn't have to run swamps, I would have been happy with that. But actually having to splash for these removal spells, and maybe Last Gasp just isn't powerful enough to splash for. So like we cut that, and you know, maybe we throw in this Lorecaster or something, just give us more threats, as opposed to like a very medium interaction spell that really is only good in the first couple turns anyway, where it's not guaranteed that you're going to cast it, and then we just drop a swamp, go up a plains. That definitely seems more correct now, having played the games out. Of the cards that kind of stood out here, Practice Offense is just an absolute monster of a card. Uh, I think I said when I took it, this is an extremely splashable win condition in any deck that has creatures. So unless you're in the super slow blue grindy decks that's just looking to go over the top of everybody, maybe you got mill win conditions with Math Magics or the 0-2 mill guy or Brain Freeze, then you're passing this. But I think every other deck should be taking it, like no matter what. So getting past this card is always like a blessing. And the two Garrison Excavators. Garrison Excavator is a amazing card for the Lorehold decks generally, but we really lacked in graveyard synergies here. We only had one Rubble Rouser, a Stone Docent, a group project, Molten Note, and Ascendant Dust Speaker, Zealous Lorecaster. We didn't even have in the deck. So very, very few ways to trigger this card. But this card is absolutely broken when you have a ton of ways of triggering it. And you can trigger multiples in a turn cycle. Triggering it once and getting a 2/2 is nothing. Like that doesn't matter. But when you can play it, you Rubble Rouser, for some mana, and flashback your group projects, and your docents are coming out, and then your Dust Speaker triggers, and you get 4 2/2s. Then this card is very good. But 2/2s themselves are not sized well enough in this format that just 1 or 2 more 2/2s, after turn 4 matters that much. But once you get like enough of them, there is like a threshold where like it's not good just to make an additional 2/2, and it is really good to make 5, and somewhere in the middle is some line where you're hoping to make at least like 2 or 3, and we just didn't get there, even though we took these cards pretty highly. Noting our Tome Blasts, we took I think we took a Garrison Excavator over one. We took some other really good card over a Tome Blast, and then those did not wield. Those are such efficient, like cheap removal spells. Generally, anybody playing red is going to take those very highly, and it sucked that we had to pass those, and nobody else had to pass to us those cards in the first couple. You really need a couple of those. Molten Note's good. Wilt in the Heat would have been really good over something like Heated Argument. So we didn't get there in the removal suite of cards at all. And that's kind of been the ongoing trend for my decks. And I've tried to clock like, hey, I need to be taking removal a little bit higher, but removal spells themselves are not a reason to play a deck. Like, just because you got like 3 good black removal spells is not a reason to be in one of the black decks. You actually need reasons to be Witherbloom or Silver Quill over just having removal spells. And splashing black is like splashing here in like a red-white aggro deck is painful. Like, there was a real cost to splashing these black cards. Sure, if you're like green-blue, splashing black is really free, and getting those removal spells is very nice, but you don't know where you're going to end up in those first 7-8 picks of the draft in this format. So I just try to stay as open as possible, and it did not I don't know. I'm talking really down about this deck that just got 6 wins and had a real shot at a trophy. It's just know that like uh, there's a lot more like that I'm just like looking for in draft navigation. I'm not really talking too much about the deck itself. I'm more talking about just navigating the draft portion. Like this is obviously like a playable deck. If it gets 6 wins, you know, it's pretty good. And it started 0-2, right? Or 1-2, something like that. So we went on a heck of a run with this deck. It's not bad. Though our opponents did play some much worse decks. And I think that's the thing. Like our opponents uh, messed up their draft navigations. So I'm trying to like clock what my opponents are doing and going like, wow, he is in a terrible deck. Luckily for me, um, and that's where we really cleaned up. Like a lot of our wins was our opponents just playing very subpar cards that they should not have even taken. Like they shouldn't be in the deck. Period. So that's just something that I'm always clocking like every game, trying to see like every deck, like where was this? Where do I rank my opponent's deck that drew a bunch of cards, played some neat cards, but played a whole pile of garbage, and my what I view as a mediocre deck ran him over. You know that shouldn't be happening. Um, but it does. So we're gonna take our packs and be happy with it. We're at 89 now, getting close to our target of 125. And I'll see you next time.